I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, and it is for the 2003 film Daredevil, and this is the director's cut, which is the one I watched again. Now, if anyone wants to send in any requests for pretty much any type of video, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. Now, Daredevil, this is a film I saw in the theater. Really enjoyed. I even liked it more than the Spider-Man films at the time. Sorry, that's just how I feel. And watch it again, especially the director's cut. I still really enjoy this film. I think it's one of the more underrated superhero movies, and I think it's one of the more solid ones of its time. I really truly believe that. I don't think this film deserves its reputation. Now, is it a flawed film? Sure, the CGI sucks. It sucked back then, it sucks now. The CGI is awful. When Daredevil is jumping down buildings, there's a fight scene he has with Bullseye in the third act in this church, and they're jumping on this big organ. That CG is fucking garbage. I wish somehow someone would do like a George Lucas thing, go in and fix all the effects. If someone went in and fixed all the effects in this, then you really have something. But it goes to show you, just because it has weak effects does not make it automatically a weak movie. Because, number one, I really like Ben Affleck. I've never been the guy that hated Ben Affleck. A lot of people do. I've always enjoyed him. I always enjoyed him as an actor. I liked him in Good Will Hunting, in the Kevin Smith films like Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Phantoms, Paycheck. I've always been a Ben Affleck fan. I know he hates the film, as most people do, but I thought he did a really solid job. I thought the movie, I loved, for the most part, the tone, especially in this director's cut. Just what it is with the theatrical cut, it was more of a love story between these two. And this is more about the man without fear. Like, if you've only seen the theatrical cut, watch the director's cut. It is a different film, where the fight scenes have more room to breathe. It's not edited down. Characters have more room to breathe. There's a lot of footage that is put back in that should have been in there in the first place. This should have been what was released. I keep showing it, but that should have been what was released And I'll show it over here. Because I always forget there's probably a poster right here. You hold it, we can't see it, man. So I'll show it here. If that director's cut was in theaters, I don't think it would have as bad of a reputation. I think a lot of people that, if you still don't like the film after seeing it, teach their own. But I like, and I'm talking about the director's cut as I review this. Sorry about that. It had a nice serious tone. Well, the director, Mark Steven Johnson, from the beginning, when he's wounded, he's on the top of a church and he falls down. The flashbacks where he's a kid. His father's David Teeth from Firestarter, who's a boxer. This accident happens where he gets blinded, but he has this other abilities get multiplied tenfold. His sense with balance, sense of hearing, to hear a heartbeat. And I thought the sonar stuff looked really cool, where he could technically see, because of the vibrations, I just kind of like a bat. And I love the way they portrayed it, the sonar stuff. If the bit went in the rain and he could see her because the rain's bouncing off her face. I thought that was really cool. The soundtrack, this is one of the best soundtracks to a movie, a superhero movie. I mean that. The score is fine. I'm talking about the soundtrack. Almost all of these songs I love. Whether it be Bring Me to Life by Evanescence, whether it be the Rob Zombie, The Man Without Fear, whether it be the song that's playing when he's honing his senses, and he's visualizing the punching bag, the whole training, and then dealing with the bullies and the way that was filmed, and very satisfying. His father gets killed, who we find out later is because of the Kingpin. And again, this tone, I thought, yeah, Spider-Man should not have that tone, granted, but with Spider-Man films, it felt very campy. Like, those are films that are called cheesy, and I hate the word cheesy. I do like Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi's film, but they still have that cheesy. This one, the times it did that was like the stupid playground fight between him and, I can't believe I forgot her name, Jennifer Garner. They have like a playground fight when they meet each other. That's silly. That's a bit silly. But the other stuff, the way Ben Affleck interacts with Jon Favreau, and they're both lawyers, it showcases more of Matt Murdock, Daredevil, as a lawyer. You know, more of him hearing people's heartbeat to see if they're telling the truth or they're lying. More into an investigation angle. More into to be this character that has these senses. So in his home, he literally has to have his sensory deprivation tank. And I thought the director did some nice visual moments. He can visualize this woman crying and crawling, and because he can hear so well, he can literally visualize it right next to him, but he can't be everywhere. He can't do anything. He's beaten up, and the only way he can sleep is being this thing of water, and the lid passes by. I was like, wow, that's a way to live. Him taking all these pills for the pain and all these scars. This is shit that people do credit to Christopher Nolan doing for Batman. They did a little bit of that in this film before Batman Begins. That was 2005, this was 2003. They were doing some of that, but it still had a fun tone and nature to it. For your sake, I hope justice is found here today, before justice finds you. And the action scenes, the fight scenes. Paul Ben-Victor, who the last movie I reviewed with him in it was he played Mo Howard in the 2000 TV movie of the Three Stooges. He was in a film called Body Parts for Jeff Fahey. He's a criminal that gets let out. Daredevil finds him, and in the director's cut, this fight scene is extended, very much so, when he's fucking up people in the bar. And the way he's able to handle and move it, beats up a guy, slides down on him as it slides down this stairwell. this guardrail, I should say. There's even actual moments of him getting these fights that completely cut out of the theatrical cut. Why? Oh, because somehow that would lead it to an R rating. Because this is when the MPA were just dipshits. No, I mean, this version could still be PG-13. If this was released today, it would be PG-13. But I liked his interaction with Jon Favreau. You did more of that in the director's cut. The friendly back and forth. Hell, Jon Favreau is kind of playing the character he plays in the Iron Man and now Spider-Man movies. That's really what he's playing here. And I thought he does a good job here. I would say I liked him more here. I don't mind him in those movies, but I think he's even better here in his interaction with Ben Affleck and the way they play off each other. I think it's very funny. Michael Clarke Duncan is the Kingpin. That's badass. Oh, but the Kingpin... I don't give a fuck if the Kingpin was black or white in the movie, as long as it's good. Michael Clarke Duncan was good. Yeah, Kingpin is white in the comics, but Michael Clarke Duncan is a big, badass motherfucker. May he rest in peace. And this is a guy you don't want to mess with. These guards that failed him, he's like breaking necks and not giving a shit. You do feel the power. Like, this is the Kingpin. This is the guy you don't want to fuck with. And he had that stature. He pulled that off extremely effective. In an effective manner. Colin Farrell. I thought he was entertaining as Bullseye. I actually like the look of him better than the comics. Because in the comics, the outfit's kind of goofy. But I like the sort of... I can't even call it tattoo. It's a imprint on his forehead. You can't really see it there, but... like a bullseye imprinted. I thought that was a neat idea. And Colin Farrell's having fun. He's having a lot of fun. Gets a paper clip and throws it into someone's neck. A woman talking to him too much on the plane. He gets a peanut to choke her. In the theatrical, when he's told the Kingpin, he's like, I want a bloody costume. I always knew that sounded off. Because he really said, I want a fucking costume. Which, if that fits better, that line fits better. And it got a laugh out of me. And I said, what's nice in the director's cut is more about the investigation, because Coolio, he's up for murder. But that makes the plot not have as many holes in it when you watch the director's cut. Because you're wondering, okay, how does Kingpin really get arrested? What makes him get arrested and put into jail? Well, because this whole investigation angle where this trial... with Coolio, there's some evidence that links to A to B to C that then leads to ultimately Kingpin's arrest by the end of the movie. And it's nice to see more Matt Murdock as the lawyer as well as the superhero. There's a great bit where he's trying to get a guy to talk, so he gets in the car and even though he's blind, he's just driving and bashing back and forth. What, is this how you parallel park? That was really entertaining. And you still get the little bit of love story with him and Jennifer Garner. And Jennifer Garner, I hate Elektra, the movie. Fucking horrible film. I thought she did fine in this. I did. I thought she did fine in this. Elektra, I thought was used maybe the way she should be used. At least with Jennifer Garner. Maybe a better actress. Well... everything needed to be better in Elektra, but she worked fine here. I like some of the lines of dialogue. Time to give the devil his due. Joel Pantoliano, another great actor, who's a reporter on the case. I like the bit when he throws a cigarette, you see the fire, which you saw before in The Crow. And you see after this in The Punisher. And then Batman would use it in, The Dark Knight Rises? But the first time I saw it was The Crow. I don't know who did it before The Crow. If anybody. But I mean, that's still a nice, cool thing. Because it's on the ground and this pops up. It's funny, people make fun of that. But what about what Batman does in The Dark Knight Rises? But people give that the pass. For some reason. Like I said, Jon Favreau's entertaining. When I say I liked his banter with Ben Affleck, one of them is, look at this place. I feel like I'm in the middle of Sanford and Son, and I'm waiting for Lamont to come in. But there's some nice dramatic moments. There's a point where he beats up this guy, and he turns, and there's a kid scared. He's like, I'm not the bad guy, kid. I'm not the bad guy. I'm not. And yet again, one of the things that makes this better than the theatrical cut, there's a point where he's with Jennifer Garner, and they're ready to kiss, and they're ready to make love, possibly. But then Ben Affleck hears distress. In the theatrical cut, he goes with Jennifer Garner. You're like, okay. This is much better, where he's like, I can't, I got something I need to do. So it's putting him wanting to help people over a possible physical relationship. That's what happened before, that's hurt relationships, it happens again. That to me is a much more, in a weird way, endearing quality to the character. And again, that's one of the many reasons why I think the director's cut is better, is the fact that he, over physical pleasure, he goes to help someone who's in trouble. Now again, the CGI is, I would say, the biggest issue with this film. When Daredevil's going on the rooftops, jumping down, there's a bit where he hits Bullseye off the motorcycle. I like the idea of it, the sentiment of it. It's slow motion going like a 360, but the effects are not good. When the fight are more practical, like the fight he has with Kingpin at the end, which is longer in this cut than the theatrical, which, yeah, I don't know why they cut that down. I guess because of the ratings board, for some stupid reason. That's when it's more effective. The fight he has with Bullseye at the end, like I said, it's mired because of the bad CGI, and it should not have. They should not have done it that way. I don't know who did the effects in this, because it wasn't ILM, which I think is one of the big problems. Does it say who did the effects? Probably. No, it doesn't say. I don't think it was ILM, otherwise they had an off day. Yeah, whoever did it did a piss poor job, honestly. Maybe it's just these early days, they try to work out the kinks. But like I said, no one likes the film, so they never do it. But go back and fix the effects. I think that would be much appreciated by a lot of people. Kevin Smith, he makes a cameo in this as guy who works at the morgue and has the scene with Joe Pantoliano. Nice to see Kevin Smith in there. Colin Farrell, like I said, he's having a ball, like when he's fighting Jennifer Garner's character, and the way he plays with her, and very entertaining bad guy, while Michael Clarke Duncan is the more intimidating bad guy. So it's nice that you have both. I love when Colin Farrell's character gets pissed that he keeps missing Daredevil, because that's the thing he hates. I never miss. He made me miss. Like I said, when you watch the flick, I keep harping on it, especially the director's cut, it feels like a fuller movie, and it feels you really went on a journey with the character, where you have these certain bad guys, you have the investigation angle, you have him as a person, you also have him as a superhero, you have him realizing he can't be as down to the level of them, so by the end he wisens up, where at the beginning he lets a guy get run over by a subway train. At the end, it's like, wait, that's not justice. When he fucks up Kingpin's kneecaps, which was satisfying. I'm not the bad guy. I'm gonna tell him who you are. Yeah, go ahead. Tell the people at Rikers you got beat up by a blind man. Let's see how long that lasts. And like I said, the soundtrack is epic. Almost every song I love in this. I won't back down. I will not back down. I mentioned You'll Bring Me to Life by Evanescence. So yeah, the cast works well. The when it's a fight scene, that's solid. The story, the group of I would love to have seen a sequel done in this tone, and in the vein of this 2003. I would love to have seen. I wish this got 3 movies and not fucking Spider-Man. I'm sorry, that's how I feel. I wish this is the one that got 3 movies. I would love to see what they would have done next. What other villains would have been. And maybe next time improve on the effects. Or go, you know what, let's stick to more just hand-to-hand fighting. Not so much the CG trying to be Spider-Man. Just Spider-Man was so successful. And that's the only reason this got greenlit, is because Spider-Man. Well, yeah. Well, I'm not sure if this was being made when Spider-Man got released. I know when it was getting made, because Spider-Man, I think, was supposed to come out 2001. And I think it might have gotten delayed to 2002 because of 9/11. So, I don't exactly know when this got into production. Either because, wow, Spider-Man's getting made, let's capitalize this, or Spider-Man was successful, let's capitalize on this. One or the other. And Mark Steven Johnson, he would go on to direct Ghost Rider. He does a really bad reputation. I don't think he's as bad as people make it out to be. I mean, when you watch certain scenes of this nature, the way certain scenes are lit, certain scenes are done, again, the decision making the sonar. I like the way Daredevil looks. I think the costume is pretty damn cool. And I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck about the TV show. It's not fair, I haven't seen it. So I know that's not fair, but I've seen clips. And the clips I've seen, I'm just not interested. I'm sorry. I'll stick with this one. You know, since people tell me I shouldn't like it, well, you know what? I will like it. So yeah, Daredevil, like I said, I think is a very underrated picture. I don't think it deserves the bad reputation it gets. And like I said, if you've only seen the theatrical, go watch the director's cut, because it is a fairly different film. And I like the theatrical cut, but I think the director's cut is the better version. Like I said, the CGI is not good. If you can overcome that, I think you'll have... I'll take this over a lot of the superhero films today. Because, yeah, there's humor in this, but for the most part, it seems to take itself seriously. As well as having some levity humor involved. Compared to some of the films of today. I could see that the director was a fan of the character. He wanted to give it justice, pun intended. And I thought he was rather effective. Like I said, this to me is one of the more underrated superhero films. And I'll defend it. I'll defend it, so. I can't defend the effects, but I'll defend the movie. Especially the R-rated cut. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.